you need to understand that Negroes, and I know that's an old term, but I'm old school. You can call yourself African Americans, are doing worse now. Today, the 20th of May, year 2020, 4 years after the election of the first black president, Negroes, African Americans, are doing worse now than they did 50 years ago, 70 years ago, when they were Negroes, when they were coloreds, you see? When we were colored and Negroes, we built Howard University, Fisk, St. Augustine, Shaw. We owned the stores in Harlem. Our children, Booker T. Washington and Tuskegee, when we were colored, when we were Negroes, less than 1,000 of us were in prison, though there were many lynchings. We didn't go to prison. When we were Negroes, when we were colored, before we became black and African American, every child had a father in their home. Every child knew how bad the bathroom smelled after daddy went in there. Or the smell of this aqua velva shave lotion on the dresser. Every child knew the voice of a father. When we were colored, when we were Negroes, and then we became black, we became African American, and we became civil rights. And we're doing worse now than we did when we were colored, when we were Negroes. We also have to face the reality that going the political route has not helped us. It too has not brought us any place, and we're doing worse now as a result. Do you know, I'm sure you do, maybe you don't, that the mayor of the great city of the Gone with the Wind South in Georgia is a black woman? Did you know that? She's not the first one. Maynard Jackson was the first black mayor of the Gone with the Wind Atlanta, Georgia city. Right now, Atlanta has a black mayor. But not just Atlanta, Dallas, the mayor of Dallas. Dallas, the television program, Dallas, the great metropolis of the South, of the Southwest, has a black mayor. Houston, the fourth largest city in America, has a black mayor. Baltimore has a black mayor. Washington, D.C. has a black mayor. San Francisco has a black mayor. Birmingham, Alabama all have black mayors, politicians. And as the aspiration that somehow or another, if we could just get black people into politics, we're going to have a better life. We're going to prosper. You got black senators, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris. You even had a black president, at least that's what you called him. The mayor of the city of Chicago, Illinois, Lori Lightfoot, a black woman. Harold Washington was the first black. But look at the homelessness in Chicago. Look at the juvenile, if you will, killings of one another in Chicago. Look at the poverty, the brokenness in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Dallas, and in Houston. Though you got black mayors, it hasn't changed. Before Harold Washington, Chicago might have been a place where one would be proud to go to. Los Angeles, Tom Bradley, first black mayor of Los Angeles. David Dinkins, first black mayor of New York City. Carl Stokes, first black mayor of Cleveland, and others. And you've got billionaires, Oprah Winfrey, Bonnie and Clyde, Jay-Z and Beyonce, Robert Johnson of BET. You've got all of these black mayors, black politicians, and yet homelessness. Did you know that there was no homelessness in New York City, either Bed-Stuy, East New York, Brownsville, or Harlem until the late 70s? That every black man had a home and a pillar to rest on. But once we started getting black mayors, running for black presidents, running for black senators. Once that all started and all our energy and identification went there, homelessness and drug addiction and heroin addiction went off the charts. Don't you see? Don't you see? I'm not making this up. We were better when we were colored than we were when we were black. We're better when we were Negroes than we were when we were African. So, you know, this business of having a black politician has not helped the people in Newark or here in Bed-Stuy. And from the killing of Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin to Michael Brown, and now with Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, I mean, when is it going to stop? Why doesn't getting black politicians and black rappers who become billionaires, why doesn't it stop the killing of black men being shot down in the street like stray dogs? Why? You can't tell me black politicians have solved that problem. They're killing our young black men like they're stray dogs with the rabies. And black politicians are black billionaires like Jay-Z and his partner in crime by Beyonce being pimped by Jews. And I'm a Zionist. I'm not a Jew hater. I'm a Zionist. I don't know if you know what a Zionist is. One of the most strictest Orthodox Jew you could, I believe in it. But they are being pimped by Jews as Obama was pimped by the Jews. Yes, he was. And that's why they can't help. That's why. You know, we have more killings now, right today, with all these black mayors in Atlanta, D.C., Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, Houston, Baltimore. We have more imprisonment. We have more black men in prison. Right here in New York City, Rikers Island is the second home for every black youth from Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, East New York, Harlem, Fort Greene. That's his second home. He can look forward to being in Rikers at least once he passes his 15th year birthday. He's going to go there. He's going to Rikers. That's where he's going to get his education. That's where he's going to learn. It wasn't like that. Rikers Island was a desert island in the middle of the East River. But since we got all these black politicians, look at where we are. You got to wake up. You can't deny this. We have more homelessness now since David Dinkins and across America. More unemployed blacks. We have more poor performing schools. People of the Hamite persuasion. And by the way, this is not a racial call. Let me recant. This is a call of national, international proprieties of every race, of every kindred, and every tongue, but not of every identity. But I'm just saying right here in Harlem, where I think the heart of the issue should get started, to point out where a large segment of the people need to hear my call, and you need to admit that you've not advanced as a result of having black politicians, not even having a black president. Our children, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You ought to be damn right out, stoned down, ashamed of yourself as black politicians, as black preachers. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Our children don't have fathers. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Our children don't have fathers, and our daughters can't find a damn husband of a black man. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. That our people can be so damn broken that children don't know who their father is. And a woman can't find a husband because there ain't nobody out there. Be ashamed of yourselves. Black politicians, black rappers, black basketball players. You ought to be ashamed of your damn selves. Our families, children don't know who their daddy is. And you talking about Obama as a black president. I've never seen anything as stupid as that. Our neighborhoods have no men, and our children have nobody to look up to. You've allowed the white man, and I'll use that term pejoratively here today, you've allowed him to identify me. You have allowed him to tell you I'm a bad fellow. I'm not. But you've allowed him to tell you that. And you've run with it. He's a hate preacher. Yeah? No, I'm a truth preacher. You hate to hear it. You've allowed these people to poison your mind against me, the Lord's servant. Civil rights has made more house Negroes than you can ever begin to shake a stick at. Ain't no different between the house Negroes in the Senate and in the Congress and in the rap industry. They house Negroes. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you this. I'm a Zionist. I'm an Orthodox. I believe in the Orthodox Jews. I believe in the land belonging to Abraham. I'm a Zionist. But I can tell you something. Ain't no rapper gonna get anywhere in the music industry if he don't bow down and kiss the Jews' feet. They control that industry, the movie industry, the pornography industry. You let Jay-Z say something about Jews, he'll be out on his butt so quick, they'll take his money and they'll use Beyonce as a train, they'll pull a train on her. You better not say nothing about them Jews. You can rap and you can call black women bees and hoes, and you can talk about that, and you can even talk about the police, but you better not, Jay-Z better not say nothing. P. Diddy, or none of the rest of them better not ever say anything about a Jew. You'll be out of business so quick it'll make your head swim. They're pimps. They're house Negroes. They just have more visibility than they've had before. Sellouts like Al Sharpton. Known registered criminal with the FBI. Yet you let the white man identify me as a hater. You ought to be ashamed of your damn selves. What's so wrong with you? Let them people tell you to hate me. Let them people tell you that I'm not for you. I wake up every morning in Harlem. I've been here for the last 40 years. I'm going to be here for the next 400. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. While you let the people tell you to worship pimps or people being pimped like Jay-Z. You worship them and bow down or worship these black politicians who better not get out of line with Jews or Wall Street. They better not get out of line with Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, and all that Jewish money down there. They better not get out of line. They'll dig up all their old girlfriends and have them stand before television and gap over their Gap goodie and say, he used to jug me, he did it for 12 years. But long as the Jews keeping those girls quiet, he can walk around like he ain't got no sin. Yeah, same thing. It's all the same. It's all the same. And you let them tell you to hate me. Uh-huh. But what has happened now with these house Negroes now? The African-American house Negro, the African-American, if you will, the black house Negro, he ain't helped you. Let me tell you something. If Hillary Clinton had won the presidency, Bill Clinton opened up an office up here in Harlem. Did you know that? I sent him a letter, told him that we wasn't welcome. But Maya Angelou and Toni Morrison took Bill Clinton down to the Kennedy Center years ago and crowned him as the first black president. If Hillary Clinton had become president, Trayvon Martin would be alive today. Maybe he graduated high school. He might be in college, Trayvon. Same thing with Michael Brown and a host of others. If Hillary Clinton had become president, Trayvon Martin would be alive today. That's right. It's that Obama. It's that blackness that y'all rush and praise and worship. No. Hillary would have had a better strength, a better program. And may have had an office right here in Harlem. People set up local offices everywhere. Even Al Sharpton got national network offices. Why didn't Obama set up an office in Harlem? Why? I mean, why didn't he have a local precinct in Harlem? 8 years as president, right? Came to Harlem once to visit his girlfriend up at the Red Rooster. They had a private lunch and got it on in the back room while the Secret Service police was watching the door. And I was outside protesting. After that, he ain't been back. Can't nothing about y'all Negroes up here in Harlem. There's been no progress. You show me the progress. You say you show me the progress since y'all become civil rights You know, I was teaching earlier today that Moses, when he saw an Egyptian attacking a Jew that was a slave, Moses killed that Jew, that Pharaoh. Moses killed that Egyptian that was attacking that Jew. Moses killed him and buried his body in the sand. And the thing got known. Now, Dr. King was a man of nonviolence. Oh, well, nonviolence today. Nonviolence, and I have a dream of nonviolence. Moses was not a nonviolent man. Moses killed him. Moses killed the oppressor of the slave. Wow, you're not better off. You're worse today, and it's only going to get worse. Show me the progress. You can't show me any progress. You can't show me anything except that house Negroes now, maybe they'll be on television, they got a little bit more. They even let these house Negroes marry white women now. They used to wouldn't do that. You know, the house Negro, you know, years ago, you know, he could do a whole lot. He could stand there and watch Miss Ann change clothes. He could handle her slips and wash her, give her the water and pour the water while she's the hot water. He could bring the hot water in the bathtub while she's in the bathtub with her legs gapped open. When the house Negroes were house Negroes for sure. And they gone with the wind south. But he couldn't touch that white woman. If he did, it'd kill him. And he knew it. It'd kill him. Kill him. But now, house Negro has advanced. He can marry a white woman now. He can. Mm-hmm. You know, years ago, I asked an executive at Chase Bank. I was downtown at the executive branch down near the Waldorf Astoria on Park Avenue. I've been called to an executive meeting down there, and I asked one of the top executives under Jamie Dimon at Chase Bank, I said, what is the annual worth of Harlem with respect to taxes, income generated, and general services and fees? How much money is generated out of the community of Harlem alone? You're a banker, you got this data, you know where money comes and money goes. And by that, let me explain to you, some of y'all that are not up on the financial. There's a certain amount of taxes that happen that are transacted in Harlem every day. Taxes for sales, for goods, for, you know, if you buy something, some clothing, you buy food, you buy liquor, you buy whatever it is within the store context of Harlem. And each one of these stores collect a tax. They all have hundreds, if not thousands, of stores and venues and businesses that collect a tax here in Harlem every day. Millions, if not billions of dollars in taxes are collected every day and sent downtown. What is the annual collection of taxes? What's the annual collection of revenues from services and from fees? What's the annual disposition of money that are spent on doctors' fees, on prescriptions that are filled, on haircuts that are given? What is the annual cumulative amount of money, I asked J.P. Morgan, that happens in Harlem on a daily basis and then on a weekly, monthly, and annual basis? How much money is generated in this community? How much rent is paid? How many mortgages? How much interest is made off the mortgages of the properties in this community? He wouldn't tell me. He knew, but he said he didn't know. He said, because he figured that a Negro like me or a Hamite like me ain't got no business knowing nothing like that. Ain't nobody ever asked him no question like that. Nobody ever asked him. Al Sharpton would never ask a question like that. Jesse Jackson would never ask a question like that, because first of all, their mind and heart is not there. But he knew, but he wouldn't tell me, because he knew if he told me how much money is in the street in this community, and I told you, it would wake you up. Wait a minute, because you don't see it. You walk by these stores and you think they're irrelevant. No, they're not. City Hall gets millions of dollars in taxes off of what you buy in these stores and what you spend in this community for services every day. So my point was, suppose I stopped all those taxes from going downtown. How would it affect the annual budget of New York City if they couldn't get a chunk of taxes out of Harlem every quarter? It would devastate the city. And that's why he didn't want me to know. Because you could stop the city of New York dead cold simply by stopping all the taxation that goes on in Harlem. You know, tax is a powerful instrument. It is a powerful tool. The man who has the power to tax has the power to kill and the power to destroy. But they wouldn't tell me, but I know. So I want to say this to you, that we need to come together with this understanding, and you need to take another look at me. You need to understand that you've allowed people to color me the wrong way. You've allowed people to lie. You've allowed these white people to tell you what to think about me. And they have a great program. They've got their television, they got their politicians, they've got their newspapers. But I'm a credentialed Hamite. I've lived in Harlem for 40 years. I wake up every morning to the sounds of the sirens. I live in Harlem. I see the homeless people outside my door every day. I'm credentialed. Now, by the way, I'm not some fly-by preacher either. I'm also credentialed in ministry. I would agree that says I'm able to stand with any ecumenical group or any religious group, and I will not shame the university that awarded me the Masters of Divinity at Union Theological Seminary. I'm credentialed. I've paid my dues. I've not robbed nor stolen from the people. I've started a school nearly 30 years ago, educating students, going to some of the finest colleges, getting some of the greatest, if you will, scholarships that you're going to find anywhere at any time. I am credentialed. I'm an educator. I'm a resident. I'm a brother. But you've allowed these white people to curse me. You've allowed them to say these ugly things about me, and then you've picked it up and repeated it. I'm a brother. I'm a stomp down brother. I'm standing. I don't stand on that alone. I'm a Hamite. I'm the Lord's servant, for crying out loud. But you let the Japheth and the Sodomites in particular, they really came at me when I went at them for being feces hole lovers. And for women who love to suck on another woman's paps. Who do you think that woman is? Here you are, 37 years old, sucking on a 40-year-old woman's titties. What's wrong with you? They ain't your damn mama. What you sucking her titties for? Talking about we in love. And you let them people who tell you to do something as dastardly as that to hate me. Listen, what I preach is the same sermon that Jonathan Edwards preached, Charles Finney preached, the same one that Adam Clayton Powell Jr. and Adam Clayton Powell Sr., the same one that Malcolm X preached, the same one that Father Divine, the same one that O'Clay Maxwell preached, the same one Pastor Stanley preached. I'm preaching the same sermons that your fathers and your grandfathers preached years ago. I'm preaching the same Bible. There's this new crowd out there that loves to suck on another woman's titties. Women sucking other women's titties. Ain't no milk in there. She's 40 years old. And you let people tell you against the word of God. And because I speak out against it, I'm a hate preacher. And you swallowed the hook, line, and sinker, and you refuse to hear me. No, you need to take another look at me. I'm just preaching what your father, your grandmother and your grandfather preached the same thing and knew it to be the truth. That's why they preached it. But now you are can you imagine Frederick Douglass? Can you imagine Frederick Douglass being a homo? Come on. Come on. Can you imagine Harriet Tubman sucking on women's titties? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Marcus Garvey doing that crazy stuff y'all are doing now? Y'all let these white people turn y'all out. Can you imagine Malcolm X letting another man jug him in his feces hole? Can you imagine Malcolm doing that? Y'all done let these white people turn y'all into stark-raking, absolutely natural-born damn fools. And because I speak against it, you call me a hate preacher. No, I have ancestry. No, I have the historical heritage that's on my side. I have the truth that's on my side. Malcolm would never go for that. Marcus would never go for it. Adam Powell would never go for it. Hell, Martin wouldn't go for it. Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, they wouldn't go for this stuff y'all are talking about now. And calling me a hate preacher. No. And you let them attack me, and you march with them. But I'm still standing. You can see that. Now, Harlem was once the flagship and the hope of the Zulus. I remember years ago, I traveled to South Africa, Elizabeth and I, and we went to Soweto, dastardly place. A little boy about 9 years old came up to me, a Zulu, living in Johannesburg. Soweto means southwest township of Johannesburg. And he said to me, Harlem, Harlem, Harlem. And you should see the light in his eyes. Harlem used to represent for the oppressed, if you will, colored Negro, African people around the world. It used to be a beacon. They used to say, if I could just get to Harlem. Harlem! There's freedom. Harlem! There's prosperity. Harlem! There's the place to be. Harlem! Men are leaders in their home. Harlem! Men own the businesses of the community. Harlem, he said. Harlem, he said. Harlem! You should have seen the light in his eyes. Just grinning. He was as raggedy and barefoot as you could possibly be, frail and skinny, living there in the waste waters of Soweto in a little old shack. And yet Harlem was his inspiration, but not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. It's become a cesspool of booty pushers. It's become a cesspool of booty suckers. It's become a cesspool of degeneracy. It's become a cesspool of damn fools. It ain't nothing no more. Harlem. Harlem. They want to change the name. Sodomites have told you to hate me. And you listen to it. You fool your mama, your grandmama, and all y'all listen up and sitting up in these little old churches with these little old weak preachers trying to be like T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollars, two of the biggest pimps you ever want to see. You let them tell you to hate me. Hate Manning. Hate, and you went for it. He's a hate preacher. He hates, he ain't for the black man. You bring me the black man and I'll show you the last man on the planet. I'll show you the poorest, the ugliest, the raggedest, the homeless, the most homeless man. And no, I'm not for that. And yet y'all keep voting for these politicians. You got to come to a point and realize that getting a black mayor of Chicago or of Atlanta or Houston or Dallas or Los Angeles or New York didn't help y'all. When you gonna wake the hell up? When you gonna wake the hell up? This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.